I'm Danny Yount, and I'm a designer for film and television. I literally had, since I began working at 16, I had like 38 jobs. The ones in blue are where my design career kind of started. But this journey for me, as weird as it was perfect for me to understand what I didn't want to do. I think a lot of times we kind of have to go through those rounds in order to finally get ourselves to a place that we're just good at this. We're not good at, all this other stuff. And I did everything. And I love that I had the experience of all these weird kind of roles because it helps me kind of have an understanding and perspective on life. Traditionally, motion design has always been graphic design in motion. It's our way of communicating to each other through typography and photography. And now, fortunately, it's evolved also into character animation and visual effects. And it's just a visual language that we use that's in motion, that we use to communicate with each other. It's always going to be something that helps sort of create a mood in an exhibit space, on film, on TV if it's even going to exist in the future. I've been doing a long time. I think a lot of what I've shown is very almost archival in a sense, But I like to communicate a message that for me personally, there's a lot of principles that I've applied that have kind of carried my career along, and I hope to share some of that a little bit. Mistakes are crucial. Like we all really need to me, it's the best education ever. But I hope that some of the things I share with you would cause any of you to not make the mistakes that I had made. Collaborative aspects of this are incredibly important. Some designers are very comfortable doing a lot themselves, but a lot of this really has to do with, everything has to involve a team of some sort. Even if you're a team of one, you still need a producer and an accountant and all of that. So I don't think that's really an issue though right now. I think this is really all about a shared experience. The timelines that are in motion design are usually generally fast. A lot of clients don't understand that, for you to make something like that, it really involves a lot of effort because they just see the end result and they have a tendency to view it as something that you could just kind of, like drawing, like you could just get it out, but no, not at all. There's an excitement to that in producing all of this work, we get to, collaborate and develop teams and learn from each other. I've always been very hands-on, and because I discover things in the process. Like a lot of people have kind of figured all that out. I like to just kind of sort of figure it out, but then, when you're in there doing it, you start to discover new things. And sometimes that's a product of time. Like I don't have enough time to really make it enough style frames in order to really sort it out. Sometimes I like to just kind of leave it open enough where I don't kind of put myself in a box, when I'm making these things. I like to just be really concentrated and not do too many at one time. I'd much prefer to just do one and then do another, but the world isn't that way. Prodigal was really just formed out of the necessity to have something you could kind of put a name on. I mean, the motion world doesn't always function as a private practice like you can as a magazine designer or something like that. Motion design definitely involves a group of people for any kind of project. It could be a small group of people or a very large group of people. So for me, it was just kind of an organic process to form Prodigal around a certain amount of projects, and it just kind of continued since then. I really enjoy the projects that I discover something new in. Like at the time, like the semi-permanent titles were really fun. I was kind of alone in that process, and I used a very simple technique, but it seemed to be well received, and I had fun doing those. I was worried because I thought, well, this is just a mirroring technique. This is like After Effects with no plugins kind of a thing. But what made the difference when I started doing some motion tests was I realized when people had tried this before, they never took the time to actually stabilize the image from the center point. And another thing I discovered was the camera is best at a certain angle on a certain side of the dashboard on the car, and I didn't like it when I turned corners. So I always kept it very directional. Some of these are still kind of crude because I didn't really finish them. But when I started seeing this test, I got excited and I felt like, well, maybe this could be something that, you know, feels a little bit newer anyways. When I saw 7, I think, that was, a lot of people felt that way though. They saw motion design, you know, we all had these new tools available to us and they were always on TV, you know, like we always saw film title work as something out there that a guy with a great big machine that has certain skill sets can only do. And, you know, the desktop computing broke through all of that. And to finally, and then for it to be expressed the way that 7 was, is kind of the starting point of where traditional motion design as we view today was started happening in film title work. I thought, why not take these Maya, you know, models and kind of just use take the contour rendering aspects of that and kind of turn it into sort of like a funky retro kind of video game.
I am Iron Man.
I made that with a couple of myself and a couple of Maya artists in the shop. They gave us this great model from ILM, the actual Iron Man suit. And they liked that. And they wanted to turn it into sort of an evolution of all the different suits that occurred from, I guess, the Mark I to the Mark V. So he liked that a lot. And what I learned in the process up to that point was that there's nothing that gets a film director's attention more than actually just doing a motion test. Like, you could show them a lot of great frames, but unless they could just plug it into an edit and see that it works or doesn't work, you'll just have a lot more traction if you just kind of work that way. The best film directors to me are guys who are really in their element. They really are good at what they do. They don't have an ego about it. Jon Favreau was a really great film director, in my opinion, and a really good communicator with people. He knew exactly what he wanted, and he communicated that very well. Joe Kosinski is a wonderful client who just really good designer, had a great design background, has really great ideas in sci-fi, you know, and Guy Ritchie, I liked working with him too. He's just a cool dude, you know, and there's a security, you know, about the way that they function that just makes the whole process a lot easier. And of course, if they're very organized and they know what they want, that's always a good situation. I think in the future it will definitely be more environmental, but it'll still have the same meaning, that it's a way of conditioning the senses, or it's a way of delivering a message. It's incredibly important that we really just forget about what everyone thinks and just really enjoy what we do and learn something. If we love what we're doing and we're learning something, then that's just, you know, we shouldn't be doing anything else.